and welcome to Out of the Bag. This is Sean Maguire live on Healing Oracle Radio and People's Internet Radio, and it is the 2nd of the 3rd, 2021, and this is for a pre-recorded interview for my show tomorrow night, and I am so proud to have back with me. They were here just before Christmas, actually after Christmas, just before the new year. God, it's a long one. Do apologize about how I am tonight, lads. It's been a long day, but do you know what? We have been excited, and lots of people have been contacting me as well about the last interview and about the exposing of the court order scam. And the lads are back tonight to tell us more, to give us more information, to tell us what happened since the interview that we've had, and also to maybe answer a few questions that are outstanding as well. So I want to welcome back to Out of the Bag the wonderful Andrew Devine and Anthony Badaloo. Hello, guys.
Greetings.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone else.
I tell you what, it wasn't that long ago that you were on, so it's only been a couple of months, but what a lot has happened in that time. Now, obviously, we're all coping with lockdown and bullshit and all the rest of it that's going on. But you guys, I mean, are you still taking this system down by exposing the court order scams, and how is it going?
Well, you kick off, Andy.
Right. So first of all, I mean, we might as well start with, as we ended on it was the 30th of December when we last did
end of the year.
And on that show, we explained about how the courts were working fraudulently and how they were scamming people with fake court orders and fake warrants. And we explained a little bit about John and whatever else, and how the actual courts weren't actually issuing proceedings to the information that was laid, because if they had, there would have been a case number and there would have been a case management file created for all the information of that court case that would have been kept on it. And I forget how many, whether it was a week or however long it was after that show finished. The next thing is you had Priti Patel on, I think it was the morning, whatever it was.
All the news channels.
And the news channels too, stating that they had lost 400,000 plus case files. Said that these cases that they'd just disappeared. I mean, she actually stated that they'd lost them, and if you'd listened to what we was explaining in the show previously to that, then you'd have also seen that we explained that they'd actually never made the case files. So they didn't exist. So she stated that they'd lost them. I asked the question, then how can you lose something that if it was never there in the first place? So on that point, that was one thing. Was it after that also, Anthony, that it came out about the Attorney General? Was that before? I think
it came out before, but what happened with the Attorney General when we were doing a podcast and we pulled it up on the screen, the news article had been it's suppressed because it says it's been taken down by the Ministry of Defense. Right. So here we got the Attorney General being caught making up false High Court orders. And when we went to revisit the article, it wasn't there. Luckily, I believe we had it backed up on the Wayback Machine. So God bless the open source community and new technology. But just to patch up what you were saying, Andy, we announced on Sean's program that we were going to put up a document to request the case management records and to view your code file to verify whether it's a legitimate claim or not. And we said on the program, if 1,000 people did it, that will be enough to crash the system. Just to ask the question, not that they get a result or they get just the fact that they ask the question is going to put panic and fear throughout I was going to say a rude word, the bad guys who are doing bad things to little people. They will put panic through them, and within 10 days we had an announcement they've lost nearly 500,000 records. That means when you go to request your record, they're going to say, oh, it was lost with that batch, that was in the papers.
That's what I was
But-
going to say. I was going to say, going back to those 40,000 case files that are gone, does that mean anyone who wants to investigate their own case file is going to be told, as you just said, they don't exist? We lost them.
No, well, that would be their answer. The problem with these people, they are so conniving, and they're taking the best brains and using the best brains on the planet to do crime. I mean, that's basically, so they will come up with some really clever answers. But the bottom line is, if they can't verify the claim against you, so you must be innocent, because you can't hold something against me that you can't prove or that you don't have. I can't make an appeal against a case, and you've lost all the case information that I could possibly appeal against. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
I'll put that in a better light. I mean, on the maxim of law, he who makes a claim carries the burden of proof. So if they're saying that there's a case against you, then they have to provide the material evidence to substantiate their claim. So if they've lost it, what have they got? They've got nothing. Yeah. And just to add a little bit more to this, because what's going on in this world right now is the people that lie. Yeah, there was an old saying about you can lie to some of the people all of the time. Yeah, and you can lie to all of the people some of the time. But because of the amount of people that are now waking up and asking the questions and asking the poignant questions that they can't answer, they are put into a position that they now have to lie all of the time. And they're lying all of the time now, yeah, to all of the people, and all of the people now know, that they're lying, because you cannot lie to all of the people all of the time. And that's what they've been put into the position of doing. So that now is causing people's mental cognitivity to see straight through them, basically. And that's why we have to keep the pressure on of the truth, because the truth will shine the light and the light will cast out the dark. And that's exactly what's basically going down here.
Yeah, I tell you what, there is so much going on, and you guys are working very, very hard, I know, in a certain direction, in fact, in a few directions. Later on, hopefully we'll hear about how John Patterson is and maybe a few other things. But I really think we need to go back to the beginning, if you like, and tell people what a court order is, and how are they administered, and what are they meant legally to consist of, and what are they doing wrong to create a scam court order. That's the type of thing I think people need to get their heads around, and then they might then be in a position to find out what else they have to learn or know before they can act on those dodgy court orders. Because I don't want someone acting on a court order and making a mistake elsewhere and ended up in prison because they've been caught out somehow else. A bit of knowledge would have gone a long way.
For sure. I mean, again, working off the maxims of law. Yeah. This is the same point. No, I cannot make a claim. Nobody can make a claim unless they can substantiate that claim.
Yes.
So anybody who's making a claim, yeah, meaning anybody. So if there's a piece of paper you've got through the door that states it's come from the court, they have to substantiate that claim. They have to substantiate, if that is a court case, they have to substantiate that court case. So I'll give you my version of what a court case would be if somebody is going to be now, anybody who's been had a letter saying that they're being taken to the court, yeah, that would mean therefore somebody must have taken some information, yeah, or formulated a case, yeah, taken that to the court, presented that to the court, and then the court take hold of that, then they issue the proceedings to it. They normally do that in three, you would do it in a set of three, triplicate, one for yourself, one to go out to whoever it is, the victim, whoever's the person is going to be, and one's kept for the file, yeah, for the paper file of the court, as well as the computer record of the court. Because the court, when it issues this proceedings, when that issuance comes, it also creates a case number. And that case number is to your computer record, which is the casement file. Yeah. So that's the basis of what it is. So now, understanding that simple process, which must be done for it to be able to be called a court case. Yeah. So if there's any breach of procedure, then there's a breach in due process, and if due process hasn't been followed, as you know, it's null and void. There's a
Yeah.
nullity. It's a nullity. It's not a court case.
Does that mean, because I, you know, I'm aware, and many other people are aware of county councils or city councils hiring the courts to issue fines and collect taxes and all that type of stuff. It's not a fucking court, is it? When that happens,
we're gonna show that 100% verified fact in a document in as we go through.
Oh,
that's exactly what is happening. And yes, the courts. See, we call it the pyramid, yeah, which was the police, yeah, and then you've got the courts on one, and then you've got on the one corner, and then you've got the council on the other. Mm-hmm. And the council and the courts and the police are working together, and have to be working together, all as a unison of three, to be able to enforce or generate a court order and then have that court order fulfilled. I.e., they take you to what they call a court, yeah, because the council have hired the building. The council themselves hire the building, and then they go in there pertaining to have the authority of the court, because all the documents look official, everything looks official. But if you don't ask the question for them to verify its fact, yeah, then they will just go along and they'll pull you into these courts, and then they'll generate, because the judge will say he's satisfied, and then he'll create an order, and then they'll give that order, will go out to the bailiffs and the police. The police will just look at this document, which is not, it's just a piece of paper. It's not an official order because it hasn't got the seal on it. It should have to be an embossed seal. There's no wet ink signature on it. And then the bailiffs will go in, they'll take their children, they'll take your house, they'll take whatever off you, yeah? And the police will enforce it. So that's why it's the triplicate of the three to operate these scams, which is exactly what it is. It's a scam from the very, very beginning, because it was never a court case in the first place. Because remember, you can't call it a court case unless the procedure has been followed. If the procedure has been followed, somebody's created a case, they've created that information. In that bundle would have to be an affidavit and statement made under the penalty of perjury, or a police caution, a police statement made under caution. Same basically thing, yeah. So they can't lie, and they get done if they do lie. Then that goes in with the information like witness statements or any evidence that's in to build that case. Then that case is then taken to a court. That information is laid for then the court to issue the proceedings to. And then obviously when they issue it, like I say, they create a case number and a case management file. So if that procedure is not, then there's hocus pocus going on.
Yeah.
This is
and
exactly
there really is hocus pocus going on, because, you know, not only are councils hiring the courts buildings and pretending that on those days they're courts, but there's also within the court service, etc., that there's staff working for corporates. There are plants. There are, you know, there are people working for in the police, for example, who are plants as well. In all the structure, all the way down, it's so ridiculous that we are allowing, I suppose, criminals to get away with what they're doing, because how we read a court order, if a court order came through the post, or if I was handed one, how would I know if there's a real one or not? Are they all illegal scams? Are they all fraudulent? Or are there ones that they put through the system to make the system continue to look good or something? Because surely if people realize this, that all court orders are scams, that's the end of the judicial system.
Correct. That will come down to the people, but the people need to be aware. Now, the one simple point about how do you know that it is, you have to go, because there's rules.
Yeah.
They're the ones, they're operating. I mean, it's a corporations, yeah? But they have their rules, and their rules and regulations stipulate what something requires to be classed as a court order. And their stipulation says that it has to be a seal. That seal has to be an embossed seal. An embossed meaning, yeah, that it's three-dimensional. Yeah. It's a raised seal, so it's like a crump. It crimps down, because a photocopy of an embossed seal is just it's flat. It's two-dimensional. So it has to have an embossed seal, and it has to also have an author. So it has to have an autograph on it, or a signature on it of the name, whoever the creator of it, the author of that document. So that's what the requirement on the simples. That's the requirement for an order to be an order. Yeah. Also, yeah, I mean, because you could have that embossed seal, and it could be an official order. However, that then could be still counterfeit, because if that order wasn't created through a court case with a case with a case number and a case management file, so that court you've actually got then another document, and because it's been had a seal put on it, so they authorized a document to give it the authority when it wasn't created correctly either. Right. So you could still have a court order that looks official and is all fully official, but it hasn't been created officially because they cheated. There's a breach of procedure.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's the same. I don't know whether it's the same in the UK, but here in Ireland we have sheriffs, and the sheriff will sign a court order, and then the judge will let that court order be implemented. Okay, I might be getting that slightly wrong, but that's basically it. But over here, the sheriff is the feckin' judge. And he pays himself for each court order he does. So he wants as many as possible.
Yeah. This is where they're working, because what the other side to it is, never mind just the caseman file, the case number, which has been issued to the information that's been laid with, along with which makes the proceedings. Also, if it's in, let's say, in the civil, there also has to be a filing fee. So there's court costs, there's a court filing fee, yeah. So if there's been a filing fee, because it's going to be charged, there's no two ways about it, you're going to be charged those through court costs. So if there's been a filing fee, there has to be a receipt. So there has to also be a log for that. Because as you all know, if you anyone who's self-employed, you know, when you fill your books in and you put your costs and your expenses, your ins and outs. If you was to fill in your outgoing expenses and you didn't have a receipt to prove that those figures that you was putting in your books, when they came to audit you, you would be in big trouble because you're putting in false numbers. So the point is, yeah, if the court's asking for it, they have to, again, maximum of law, he who makes the claim has the duty bound to provide now the material evidence to substantiate their claim. So they're saying that there's been a filing fee paid. Let me see the receipt, please. That's very, you're not asking for anything that isn't required, because they've made the claim, they carry the burden of proof. They must be able to prove anything that they claim, just like they would on you. If you're making a claim, you would have to prove it. So it's equal, rule one, rule equal. What you can do, they can do. What you know, my rights end where their rights begin, their rights end where my rights begin. Full stop. Yeah. So it's an equal rule one, rule level playing field. Yeah.
So you know, we're always told that they follow proper court process and procedures and all this type of stuff, and that's necessary. Well, you're proving that they're not right from the beginning, covering those. But can you explain the solicitor's role in all this? Because how can I put it? So many people are just told when they want to do something legally in any shape or form, you got to get a solicitor. You've got to go this way. You've got to do that. You've got to do this. So when you're looking at your court order, and when you've asked for a review of your case, and you finally, maybe they send you your court order to have a look at, so you can see if it's embossed and all the rest of it. You know, where does it leave you? With the solicitor?
Well, with this, with the solicitor, I mean, if for somebody, if Anthony's just dropped out, we'll be back in a second.
Oh, okay.
But for a solicitor, he's just back now. So with a solicitor, with you hiring a solicitor, which I wouldn't recommend. I would, if you're going to have somebody, then I would recommend a Mackenzie friend rather than a solicitor, because a solicitor is a member of the Bar Association. And he's set. I mean, the solicitor himself has got three positions of authority. His first position of authority, or he serves, is the judge. The second is the population, the people, and the third is the person who has just hired him to speak for him, when now he has also put himself as an incompetent ward of the state, so he can't speak because the lawyer speaks for him. And because the judge, obviously, especially if this is a counterfeit case, that's a crime. So the judge is never going to want these caseman files being exposed, because it would expose that it was a crime being committed, because there was never a court case. It's only an illusion of a court case. So the lawyer's duty to him is keep his mouth shut, and he's not going to ask for these files. So like in Anthony's case, where he asked his lawyer, who was meant to be a family friend, and was paying as well, he had to ask him 4 times. before, you know, on the fourth time, he turned around to him and said that, you know, he had to vacate his case. He couldn't, you know, he couldn't do anything more because of professional embarrassment, meaning that, yeah, he wasn't going to admit to the fact that it was a counterfeit court case because there was no casement file. So they're not going to tell you because they're all in on it. So the solicitors, as far as I'm concerned, are no different, because that's the other branch as well, because that's down to the court, because the court is the bar association. So let's look as the court as the whole thing. So the court is the whole thing. It's the bar association, all your lawyers, because these are your main problems. These are the liars.
Well,
all lawyers are liars. Solicitors are prostitutes. They're selling themselves out.
But if that's the case, then Andy, I mean, where or who do you take?
Mackenzie Friend. Mackenzie Friend.
But they have to go into a court, and the courts are corrupt. So how can you take a case proving a court case is corrupt to a corrupt court?
Well, this is the other side to it, because this is the frame of mind. Because our mind will automatically go into defense mode,
right,
rather than standing our ground. Because if we stand our ground, we have nowhere to move. Because the point is, we aren't the ones that made the claim. So we aren't the ones that have the burden of proof.
Right.
Those that are making the claim carry the burden of proof. So all we need to do is stay as king.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, that's why it's said.
So they're making the court order. So they're making the claim.
Well, before a court order can come, yeah, we've got to be a court case that court was ordered to. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, if it gets to the point of the court order, then you're still going to say, okay, then I accept the court order, but can you show me what generated the court order? In other words, can I see the information that was laid? You know, can I see the proceeding? Can I see the case? Can I have a case view? I want to view my case. I want to see the case file. Because if there isn't no case file, then you know there's a breach of procedure, due process hasn't been followed, and that court order is worth as much. It's just a piece of paper. It's toilet roll.
Yeah.
And the only value that court order's got is what's backed up by their other prostitutes coming out of the police force, which has been infiltrated. Like you say, there is a governing body that's got its little tentacles with inside the courts, with inside probably all the bar, as far as I'm concerned, with inside the council and with inside the police. So, you know, these working together, and I'd say probably Anthony agree that Capita has certainly got a big claw in all of these areas. Yeah. And they've got people working in there that will provide, that will cover up, that will enforce something that's unenforceable. They will enforce it because they've got the force, because they are the force, you know, because there isn't enough people yet that have seen that you're all being ripped off blatantly, plain sight, plain view, just through the fear of we've got a suit on and you're scared. Because once people see a police uniform, a lot of people will raise their adrenaline and they're not thinking clearly, and they go into defense mode rather than, like I say, staying as king and asking them to prove their claim. And if someone's coming down here to show you a warrant, get hold of the warrant, because you know, well, you don't know until you get hold of it. Once you see it, you know what that warrant must contain. Just like if someone was coming to buy something off you, if they came to you with counterfeit money, because you know what counterfeit money looks like, because you know what real money looks like, so you can spot the fact that it's counterfeit, you won't take it. So because now you're being told what a warrant must look like, so to show, to see, to feel, touch what a real warrant looks like, when somebody comes with a piece of paper with a button stamp on it, with no autograph on it, you know that this is dodgy, this is nothing. And guess what? You little thieving scumbag, yeah, because you've come to me trying to steal something off me with a counterfeit piece of paper. That is the crime. So what actually should happen, if we had any decent police in this world, yeah, the policeman should come straight away and arrest the bailiff.
Yes.
100%. The bailiff would put his hands up if he had indecent bailiffs out there and say, well, I was given it by the court. And then they would go and arrest the people within the court building for making counterfeit documents and falsifying the court's authority and abuse of power.
That's absolutely what has to happen.
And then they should also go to the council because we've got all them using because don't forget, every council tax, all these things, you know, they've never used a court They've used a court building, but they've never used the court's authority because they have it's never been through official, it's never been through the process that it would have to have gone through to be able to be called a case.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
therefore, it had to have gone through a case to be called, to create an official warrant, So there is no, so that means the council is 100% caught out. They should be now gone in and taken because that's treason. As far as I'm concerned, it's treason.
Of course it is. It's criminal anyway. So
yeah.
What Anthony said in the last show was a really good analogy of the structured organized fraud you got there and what you've been explaining there. It's like he gave the analogy of putting a car through the MOT, or they call it the NCT over here, and basically it not going through certain stages. You wanting a car that's drivable, legal, on the road, and nothing wrong with it, but because of the amount of, I suppose, hidden things and deception and all the rest of it, the car comes out the other side with a certificate saying you've passed the NCT, you've passed your MOT, and then halfway down the road, the car blows up and you're gone. Just
one other little point to that, Sean, is if they you come through that end and they give you this document, which MOT certificate, and then you get pulled up down the road. See, the policeman's not going to ask you for that document. The policeman's going to phone through and check on the computer. And they're going to see if your car has had an MOT. And they're going to say there's no MOT on this car. And you're going to say, yes, I am. I've got this. I've just phoned through that MOT station and here's my document. And they'll say, well, it's not on the computer system. And then they'll go straight down and they'll arrest the garage
guy.
Yeah. But when they do that about a court, where's the police? Why aren't they going down to the courts? Because it's absolutely no difference.
No, they should be doing they should be doing their job. If they are actually in the position of trust that the public are allowing them to have and they're under their oath, then they should be working for the public and making sure that there is no breaches of peace. And I tell you what, this judicial corruption is a complete breach of everyone's peace.
Absolutely. Yeah. And may I just to round up, those police get orders to do what they're doing, and when them orders they're given orders, they're paid to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're being we the public, we the people they're meant to be there to serve us, and we are getting children, houses, all sorts robbed off people, by the use of counterfeit documents, and those police are failing to do what their duty is, and they're still accepting their wages. They are thieves because they are taking money under false pretenses, because they are saying that they're to serve the people, and no, they're not. They're serving the prostitutes, the sick individuals that are fleecing the people through the use and abuse of imitating and counterfeiting a court's authority and police authority and court or council authority.
Now the thing is, when you go to expose these court orders, have they set aside and made sure that proper criminals are being dealt with due process, or are their court cases also fraudulent and messed up, and there lies the freedom for those people down the road if things get twisted and turned? So I suppose what I'm saying is, I hope we don't actually help criminals by giving them this information.
Well, this is the other thing that we say. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not our fault that someone's abused the system. Then there's not. I mean, just because I've not seen a legit, I'm sure there are some legitimate cases. I'm sure there are some. It's just that I haven't seen one
yet. If you want to see a legitimate claim, wait until you are the claimant. I made a claim to the court, and I had to do all the things correctly. And for example, when I paid the court fee online, I'm doing the online application, the computer comes to a stop until you pay the money, and it sends you a receipt by email, and then it has a receipt on the computer file system. So the fee is paid, everything is processed. I had to file my evidence. It was a eviction of a tenant. I had to file the tenancy contract. I had to file the rent schedule. So what is happening? We know when we do it, what? So imagine somebody coming from the council now to take you for council tax. They don't have a contract to file that you have a contract with them to pay council tax. It's not a tax. You know, they say it's a debt or it's whatever. They say it's in the magistrate's court. Well, money matters is a contract issue, and it goes in the civil court. It can't go in a criminal court for money. So it doesn't stand up to any scrutiny whatsoever. And you were talking earlier, Sean, about when you get the papers, it looks like good paper or not. I can guarantee you that it won't be signed by nobody. Mm-hmm. And it won't bear an authentic seal of the court. As a matter of fact, it won't have not even a fake seal. So what it is, if I run it backwards, mm-hmm. Imagine you got some gangsters, right? Gangsters normally want what? They want drugs, they want sex, and they want punk music. No, but they want money, yeah? Right. So imagine these gangsters, they want to have young girls in the sex trafficking industry to abuse. They want unlimited money, power. How can you do it? It's so simple. We done a video coming out. It's called the Pyramid of Terror. Andy mentioned earlier. The police, the council, on the court. If they just gang up, you got the perfect gang, because they can't be beat. You get your house repossessed. The protocol is you go to the council. The police comes under the council. The police just help the bailiff with a fake warrant. Yeah. You appeal in the court, you will never get an order to restore your property. It's not going to happen. So you're in this circle. And these three parties, they have all this money that they take your stuff. When they smash you to pieces, they take your children. When I was in the probation, I kept asking them for the authentic court order and all that. And they keep asking me about my child. And I said, what's my child got to do with this matter? You know, when they smash your family apart, they know you become vulnerable and they're after the children. Yeah. And in my opinion, these children, they take them into the sex trafficking industry. All on a fake court order, because they're going to say they have a court order to take your child as well. Yeah. So in my case, they wanted to take my wife. After I've been to prison for trespassing in my own house.
Right. This is there's some story you're going to have to tell it fully on Out of the Bag sometime.
Yeah, we're gonna bring up this one now. Shall we jump into it, Andy?
Go for it.
So what it is now, that's what we're calling this one the death of council tax, because the journey we've been through, when they are saying my wife is going to prison. So I started to question aggressively, because what the story behind it is that we never lived in. It's somewhere else. And the council is supposed to investigate it, Croydon Council. So we had a complaint to them to investigate ongoing. Lo and behold, they come after her with a council tax. Not only that, it says, we're going to send you to prison. We're going to committal for not paying the council tax. So I started to fight the issue. And it says Croydon Magistrates Court, Berkeley Road. And they receive a complaint from Croydon Council. Now, Croydon Council is the one who's supposed to be investigating the illegal eviction. And they're going to apply for a bankruptcy and a committal hearing at the court, which could lead to a prison sentence of up to 3 months. Imagine when you get this through your post. Yeah. And it has a barcode on it. Someone's with a, it's signed with a LL Bragg, somebody called LL, which a photocopy signature.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have a code seal. It has a logo, which people confuse. Logo must not be confused with a code seal.
Yes.
So we raise a complaint, and this is the breakthrough we achieved, that we believe everybody who has had their house stolen, bankruptcy, whatever, on the council tax, first of all, the council doesn't have any proof of debt that they could possibly take a proper court case on. So the court manager, we got it in the fraud department, and we followed up. We asked for this, asked for the computer records, and we got a letter here from the court manager.
So we're just going through a couple of letters. Maybe I can add these to the podcast page after the interview.
Yeah. What we're gonna do, Sean, just like we did last time, we're going to put in these documents and a link to them. We're gonna put them somewhere on the internet so they can be downloaded by anybody.
Brilliant. And I just put the link in the podcast.
Yeah, and yes, and then you put these documents, and anybody who has a problem with council tax, whatever letter you want to send or correspondence, or if you're going to court, you just take these documents with you. You take it to the citizen's advice wherever you go, or your lawyer or the duty solicitor, and said, I wanted to sort out this fake, and I want to know who is going to jail. Is it me or the one who made this up? You got to be like that, yeah. But the letter says from the court manager, it says, thank you for your email. I won't make it boring. I just
no, go for it. Go for it. It's okay to read. It's okay to read it out, Anthony.
This is called the death of council tax, so it must be an important letter. So she explains here in a short letter exactly how this scam is done. So for your listeners on the podcast, I'll read it. Thank you for your email, which I received on the 19th of the 12th from Jenny, based at the Customer Service Investigation Team. I am sorry to hear about your council tax issue, and we at the Croydon Magistrates Court have not been able to resolve this matter to your satisfaction. It's brought to my attention. I noticed from the paperwork you supplied that this matter took place on the 3rd of May, 2018. You made a complaint, blah, 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 to Croydon Magistrates Court, and they put some dates. I apologize for the length of time this has taken. So once you get an apology, you know you're doing well. I gather from the paperwork you sent us on the 26th of July, 2018, you stated you received a sheet of paper. So we always say it's a sheet of paper. Yeah, because it's not a summons, it's nothing. We don't give it any authority.
Power. Yeah, any power.
Which was titled Summons for Non-Payment of Council Tax. And the sheet of paper had the name and address of Croydon Magistrates Court on it, summoning you to attend for a hearing on the 25th of May, 2018. You stated, and this is the magic word, the most powerful sentence shown in the English language.
Okay.
I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court.
Right.
That is the most powerful sentence you can ever learn in the English language.
I have never been served
with any proceedings issued by the court.
Right, okay.
You stated that you have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court. So she copied it verbatim, yeah? As such, you were seeking the court to confirm if the court issued proceedings against you. So she clarified, she got it proper. That is what we want to know, if the court issued proceedings. We have paperwork. What we want to know is, did the court issue proceedings? Proceedings, yeah? Not a case, not papers, not whatever. Proceedings. I have investigated this matter and can confirm that the court did not issue proceedings against you. Hence, you never received any paperwork from the court. Sean.
Yeah.
This is the death of council tax there.
So it never came from the court?
Aye. So this is what I'm telling you. Every single person in the United Kingdom can use this letter to knock out the council tax bullshit liability orders.
Yes. Yeah.
And prison and bankruptcy. The paperwork you received was from your local authority, which is Croydon Council, and not the court.
just for the listeners, also on this document, it's got confidential.
Why? It's a public matter. It's not confidential.
Public matter with confidential written on it. That's just for the audience. It's not.
Well, they started the con, didn't they?
Yes.
So I'm gonna read the finishing bit, which is just icing on the cake, but it'll be very useful information.
Yes.
Where she explains how the scam is done. Imagine getting a court manager signed in wet ink on headed paper and backed up on an email. She said is explaining to us how this council tax liability order scam is done. You know your guy Walter Graham back in Ireland there.
Yes, I know Walter very well.
I won his case for him.
Good man. Good man.
We asked them the exact thing. Can you confirm this was issued by the court, yes or no? And the court manager replied and said no. And then he took it to his MP, or the equivalent of your MP there.
TD, yeah.
And since then, they haven't harassed him again.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Anyway, hear this one now. Every local authority in England and Wales have an agreement with the court to use the court facilities and premises to deal with their council tax issues. So they are using the court facilities and premises.
Yeah.
So I hope it can click to people that because it's the court and the court address and the court building, it doesn't mean a court of law.
No.
Or it has any of the court's authority.
It's a borrowing and lending of the facilities. So here we go. The council summons their client to court using the summons, in quotes, summons for non-payment of council tax form, which is generated by the council and not the court. Is that source? It's generated by the council and not the court. Their practice is to get their client to meet them and discuss council tax issues and how best to assist their clients. If they're unable to resolve the matter, then they ask their client if they would want their case to be put before a judge in the court. So she's explaining this is what is done. A case can't go before the judge if you never have a properly constituted claim. You can't just grab a bunch of paper randomly and run in front of a judge. It doesn't work like this. No. But anyway, she's just saying what happens. Croydon Magistrate Court have not issued any proceedings against you. Hence, the court has not contacted you nor served you any notice of proceedings. Sean, are you hearing this?
I am, yeah.
This is the death of council tax, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll repeat that sentence. Croydon Magistrates Court have not issued any proceedings against you. Hence, the court has not contacted you nor served you with any notice of proceedings. Now, this is paperwork saying the lady gonna go to prison. Do you want it any worse than this? So she comes on, she's gonna finish 2 more sentences here.
Yeah.
Secondly, from the summons paperwork you sent in, you would notice that it states account reference 21. The magistrate's courthouse. Now she says courthouse, which is fantastic. The magistrate courthouse does not list cases by using account reference numbers. We always knew this, Sean, but we're getting it here from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, yeah, in black and white. Yeah.
Aye. The court lists cases by case numbers. I have done an extensive check on your name. Is not coming up on our court system. So we're talking now, Andrew, case management here. There is no case management file because it's never been in the court system. The council was doing their own little bubble. Shall we call it a bubble, since that's a trendy word now? They have their own little bubble inside the court building.
Yeah.
you need to contact the local authority, which is Croydon Council, for them to resolve this matter. If you are still unhappy, you may seek legal advice from any solicitor's firm. Good luck with that. Please do not hesitate to contact me on the above telephone number should you have any further query. Yours faithfully, Yvonne Membu, delivery manager, which means court manager. And she gives her direct number. Now, Sean, we want to nominate this lady, this court manager, on your program for a People's Award. You understand? Because imagine how much pressure she must have come under to release this letter. And imagine how many people she's going to be saved from jail.
Yeah, or do you think this letter is a mistake?
It's not a mistake. It followed a long period of us working the system until they reached the point there was no other option.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. There was no option left.
So you know, you've been in the system for so long, and you've been battling for so long, and your story is incredible with prison and losing housing.
This is an NHS nurse here that they're gonna send to prison, all made up paperwork. And
exactly. It's awful. But what do people? You went through all that, and you've got your knowledge. People don't have to go through all that, do they, to get this knowledge? And can they? I mean, will they be listened to by their court system as you are, because they knew you for what you went through and what you did and court cases you've won, etc. If Joe Soap does it, will he get the same results? Will he get a similar letter from the courts?
Well, this is the situation, right?
Yeah.
We have a campaign running for 5 years, and we're getting better and more prolific.
Yeah.
If you look on it, if anybody takes the time and trouble to read it, it'll take you about less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's a bit longish, but you will see the number of prominent people who have resigned from their post. And that's just on my case. Now, the thing is,
are those resignations names and positions that we would know?
Well, we have, for example, somebody called Tracy McDermott, the head of the FCA.
Okay.
We have Graham Farron, the land registry chief, because my 4 properties were sold, no stamp duty paid,
right?
No stamp duty fee, to companies that don't exist, yes, and so on. And there have been other things going on at the same time. I'm going to give massive credit to Michael Obenisho, who had his campaign running at the time to try and write off every mortgage in the UK.
Yeah, Michael's been on the show a couple of times.
Yeah, but we've gone to him direct with our case and all the evidence, because we built the evidence up. And he's in no position to do anything other than give us the property back. One of our solicitors gone to jail for conveyancing fraud.
Nice. So
the only thing we knew is at some point he resigned. We have the head of the CPS, Nick Foland. After we got him under pressure, we had 100. I said we had 100 alleged prosecutions or warrants against my family. We want the computer record on everyone.
Yeah.
And so on. And then we got 2 cases in the criminal court where they kind of accepted that there was nothing and offered us money. Next thing we know, Nick Foland has disappeared. There's so many. It's just because I always go to the top. You understand? I only talk to the chief executive. I don't bother with all the other people. You see, like this court manager, she came forward because all my correspondence says court manager addressee only.
Right.
So coming back to your question, Sean, I've gone through, I've still not got my stuff back, but I've got a lot more freedom and autonomy than I would have had if I didn't put up this fight, you know?
Yeah.
I certainly, probably be bankrupted, probably be in jail, probably my son being abducted, my wife being in jail. This is the other part of it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we're at the situation now. I got several lawyers coming to me for legal advice to help them with their claim. You understand? Practicing lawyers, yeah?
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's not about law, it's about criminal investigation. That's basically what I do. But the people, what we're trying to do, Sean, is to make it accessible, all our experience and what we built up to now, because I realize I'm not going to get nowhere on my own. We need numbers.
Yeah.
Democracy was designed to be controlled by the will of the people through the numbers.
Yeah.
So we are slowly putting out a bit more educational material, and like the only document I ever put out in the public is the one we did on your show last time.
Nice. Okay.
And I believe it's having a massive effect. I'm getting people on Facebook asking me for it, this, that. A lot of, I think on the website where we put it, it's, I think nearly 800 have downloaded it, and I'm sure people have shared it. Some people might have 10 cases. So we are more and more making that accessible, and
I just want to clarify what that is. It's getting people to ask for a review of their case. That's basically what that
no, what it is. We're saying if you say you got a court case against me, well, whatever paperwork, right? We go right back to basics. Okay, thank you. You have a court case. I got papers from you, but they don't look like they originated from an authentic process of the court. So my word, that language, that sentence I said earlier, I have never been served with any proceedings issued by the court. I would like to come and inspect the court file. They call it a file view in their language, but you want to see what's there. Yeah, it's your file. By law, that file belongs to you. It is just stored and it's in the custody of the court. I want to look at the file to see what's there, number one. Number two, I want certain documents. And number three, I want the case management printout from the computer. So they cannot comply. They cannot give it to you. But this, by law, you're entitled to, and this must exist for there to be a valid claim. And on the other hand, Sean, if this is not proper, it's a 7-year jail sentence, automatic, for falsifying court procedure. So now you got them on the run because you asked them a question they could never fulfill. At the same time, they want to take your liberty. They want to jail you. They want money. They want to break your door. They want to take your child. So you're in a very powerful position to ask some basic questions. So what we're saying to people, we're giving you a 1-page document that can replace a £50,000 bullshit barrister that will never ask this question.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So we're putting out a document that took me many years to cultivate, 1 page. And every time I've handed it to a barrister or lawyer, they run 100 miles. That means it's very good. So this is very successful because we haven't put much marketing effort behind it, and we're getting a big
response,
download, and that is only for civil court, But what I understand, people are using it and sending it to the criminal court. But even if you send the wrong paper, they get the bloody message, So we're gonna design one. We got one anyway. We're gonna put it up there specific for criminal matters.
Right.
Now the council tax is interesting because it's neither civil nor criminal. It's straightforward bullshit. So we're gonna put.
Surely that's civil.
Well, the problem is,
right,
if it's a fraud, It's a fraud. It's neither civil
And it's
criminal. It's
criminal,
just
yeah, yeah.
it's just fraud. So the thing is, well, we're gonna put this bunch of document that we just read out. It's only 3 or 4 pages. You attach it to any document, any correspondence. Say you have somebody helping you from legal aid or community law or Citizens Advice Bureau.
Yeah.
You give them this paper and say, I want you to put this on my file. Yeah. I want to know if my case is like this one. It's not very difficult. You attach it. The problem is, it's the same again. It's the death of council tax. How from here now? You know, I had this thing for a long time. Mr. Ebert told me, don't show nobody. I don't know why he told me that, but I waited a long time. And I think, you know, how many people has gone to jail since I have this document that I could have saved.
Yeah, yeah.
So the thing is, this is a massive power. And then I had one guy took these papers and he was demonstrating in London somewhere. And they were being aggressive with the people just recently. And he had this bunch of documents with him and he showed the police. He said, this is what I'm demonstrating about. And they just left him alone. They just left him alone. Because if they arrested him on it and it went for a trial, it would be very interesting. So we are building up some kind of momentum. We're not in the revenge business or nothing, but the absolute violent criminality, child abduction, stealing people's assets, disrupting people's lives, ruining lives. It's not the way we got to run the planet.
No,
you know?
why are they doing this, and why are we allowing them to do it to us?
You answered the question.
Because we're allowing them to do it to us.
The only reason someone can do something is because they're being allowed to do it. How are they being allowed to do it? It's because of the lack of the knowledge. That's what this knowledge is so empowering to the people, that they need to understand. Just remember the simple maxim. Someone's making a claim, they carry the burden of proof. So if they're going to say it is something, then let's see that it is something, because if it is something, it's got to have A, B, and C. Without A, B, and C, you've got no entitlement to call it that, you know. And the fact is, the fact that you are calling that, you know, there's utterance and all sorts, all different laws to say, you know, apart from the mere fact that, you know, stop it. We can see you now, all you courts, all you police, all you councils, we can see it, stop it, clean up shop, and make good the damages that you've done. Reimburse the people. The game's over. Stop it. Yeah?
I think why they're doing it, Sean, is because they're getting so much return. Because imagine the police, the court, and the council combined. They are the gangsters in town. They are the boss, you know?
Yeah.
And you can have friends and family that you're close to. You have common interests, music, football, culture, whatever. And that binds you as friends, yeah? But when you are gangsters together, you are bound by criminality. That is proper bonding, yeah? Because, you know, they say the saying thick as thieves. Yeah. You know, it keeps them together because they are all in it, compromised.
Well, in more ways than one, they're probably all blood brothers.
They're blood brothers, and this is it. It does unite. The criminality unite. When they call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't say I don't feel like it. You gotta get on with the show. You know. Yeah. So I think we got an interesting case, don't we, Andy? We were helping this guy Tariq with he had a restaurant, some vegan restaurant. He got evicted with an illegal bailiff.
Okay.
And we were looking into the warrant, and they can't produce nothing. The police brutalized him quite badly because he was putting up some resistance. This is recently. And we looked up the landlord. There's a guy called Lamont. What was his first name? Andrew Lamont.
No relation to Norman Lamont.
Well, we don't know. It might be because he was a counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do we find, Sean, with this Andrew Lamont, who just kicked the guy out with a fake warrant?
It was he had over 18,000 indecent images.
He's on the sex offenders register.
Right.
So they didn't send him to jail. Why didn't they send him to jail, Andy? What was in the report? Because he was a...
Because it was partially, well, there was a lot of that. I mean, the one thing that was, he came in with a partially sighted and he couldn't see any of the stuff, and that's why he did the excuse.
Again, he was partially sighted.
Yeah, he went, honestly, mate, you see him walking in with a white stick and dark glasses on.
But do you know what, Andy? I'd have loved to have been there just to say, do you know what, mate? It makes you blind.
Mate, it was all over the papers, and fair play, the papers actually put out the stuff.
They said he did.
All sorts involved in the stuff that he was with. It's disgusting, mate.
They spared him jail because it says in the papers he was a good man. The judge said he was a good man.
Yeah.
And now he comes, he's using fake warrant to evict Tariq. Apparently he has a lot of properties. I wonder how many more of his tenants he's doing this to, because what? He gets away with it. He just conveniently wanted the premises, and he doesn't want to go through the normal process and serve notice and go, you know. So he got the police, just come, beat the guy up, locked him up, all his things lost. And we done a video, and it's quite a good video. We're going to put it on the petition soon. But this is what it is shown. We've got the golden key to it. They may take notice, may not, but once we get the people to start demanding and realize if you've lost, you know what I want, Sean? I want to reach out to people who were taken from their families as children, because I have a cousin like that, right, and are now grown-ups. And they want to know if they were taken away from their family legally or they were taken illegally.
Right.
And all it takes is to send this document off and follow up. Either they answer or they don't answer. But if you answer, it's going to show I was abducted under the false pretense that you had a court order. And it is the same with properties, the same with a business, with the bankruptcies. All the vices, including the COVID fake fines, it relies on them to claim that they have authority of the court. Otherwise, none of these evils on the planet could actually work. Think about that. Yeah. The only reason they work is because these people say they have a court, let me put the word court proceedings against you. Otherwise, it's a straight gangster, straight violence, the pyramid of terror, police, council, and court acting as a gang, because all they have to do is do nothing. When you come to the police and say, you know, okay, somebody stolen my house illegally, all the police have to do is do nothing. They don't have to actually fight you anymore. You've already lost your stuff. They just put up the block. They say it's a civil matter or any excuse. But what they will not do is arrest the people who robbed you. Yeah. Because they're all benefiting. I don't know if Andy told you, but the officer who came to my eviction a few times, and when we put up some strong resistance and stuff, he appointed himself as the investigator against himself, Paul Purdy, Sergeant Paul Purdy of Barnet. We found out as soon as my properties were sold, he bought himself a cottage for how much, Andy?
865,000.
865,000. After 3 days, it burnt down and he got an insurance payout.
After 2 days, he burnt the whole thing down. Yeah, and he's now been paid fully, and he's built a completely brand new.
Of course he has. I mean, 800,000 is a small cottage, isn't it?
Paul Purdy. So this is what we have to get the people to start fighting for their own case and fight the issue. Because if you don't fight the issue, it's going to come back and come back and come back until.
So Anthony, does this mean that every court case has a dodgy court order that
No,
everyone
no,
can...
no, no, no. There are good court cases. If you want to sue me, it's a proper case. If you did a proper, but it is when the gangsters, people who are working on behalf of the council, or the banks.
So it's just the scammers. It's just the criminals.
It's
Basically.
just the scammers, what I call the E-gang, the elite gang. If we take a bank, Sean, they want to evict you from your house. They don't have a contract to present in court. No. They don't have any proof of debt. They don't have a ledger. They can't present a ledger on the claim to show like a rent schedule from a landlord.
Yeah.
So by definition, it cannot possibly be a valid claim. Because when it goes to the court officer to view the paperwork, that claim is null and void. They have to reject it. So by definition, they must make a false claim under the table and make you believe that it's the product of a court process.
Right.
So every single one that you want to challenge, your chances of success is close to 100%.
Right, okay.
The only problem, you don't have the power. Because if you go to the court and they don't give you the computer record, or they don't give you the document, what are you going to do? You call the security? What you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. If
you know, we used to go in with Patrick Collinell and a guy called Alex. We used to pound the desk and demand. They would jump up. Yeah, we scare them. So send us to jail then. Yeah, just send us to jail. Or you give me the computer record. So you can jail me because you don't give me the record. That's fine. This is the kind of, well, you know, if we get 5, 6 people go together to the court and start demanding their case management and to see their file. And when you get the file and it's fake, don't make no application. You ask the court manager, you want an order that this is to be struck out against me and I must get my stuff back. It's very, very simple. There is no need for a judge or application of fee because it's never been a case against you in the first place.
In the first place, no. Right.
And this is what we want to teach people and show them. And once we get people to start banging the drum, you know, I'm getting about 90% success rate if I get a case early on bailiffs and work, all those things. I'm getting like 100% success rate. The hardest thing is the repossessions. But still they know I've got a few cases now where the repossessions have kind of stopped. Nothing's happening.
Right.
But the thing is, we need the numbers, and it is so simple. We know some people will be scared. People need to help each other. People need to form companion to go to court with. Nobody should go in these buildings on their own.
No.
My nephew went there on his own, and they said he assaulted a court staff, locked him up, put a psychiatrist report on him, and put him in a mental hospital for nearly a year.
Nice.
So you must never go. Yesterday, George was in the court. He went to, he's digging. George is digging like crazy because he went to jail and he realized it's all a scam. Yeah. They said his wife done a fraud on him for signing his name or her name, and the wife never made a complaint. So it's not possible. Yeah, there was no accuser. So how could there be a case against him? Yeah. So the court manager promised me on the phone, which I got recorded, if I give him this letter, give her, it's a her, yeah. I asked her, are you aware that your courts are being used for fictitious cases? She says, no, she doesn't know. I said, but George has got 6 cases dropped against him because then none of them can be substantiated. So she said she's investigating. I said, what would you do if I gave you the proof that the court is being used for fraud, for fictitious case? She said, I would have to take it on a national level. So what I'm going to do, Sean, I'm going to present this production to her along with these documents and take up her offer
Hold her to her word.
that she's going to take it to a national level.
Right, yeah.
And escalate it.
You understand me?
Yeah, yeah.
So her name is, well, I think her name is Katie Robinson, but she's all the way from East London. But by pure coincidence, Sean, she's the same court manager responsible for Willesden, which is the court who gave me the letter that says I was never prosecuted,
Right.
but I went to jail.
Yes.
So by pure chance, she is responsible for my case as well.
Right.
And then we had an offer, we had a semi-offer from the crime commissioner that we're going to present 3 cases for him before his retirement that he's going to follow up. That where we done all the work, all we need is the order. We made the draft order, we filed it in court. We want him to use his status or whatever and say, why haven't these people got their orders? So we're pushing and pushing and banging the door, and the people are coming up towards us now and offering different support in different ways.
Yeah.
So as long as we get the numbers up and keep it focused on the court proceeding, we can't lose. Whether it's a COVID fine, we can't lose and they can't win.
So if I'm listening to this recording now, if I'm listening to this show now, and I really want to do something about this and I want to get involved, okay, I don't know anything about it. I must listen to it again, obviously, to get more information. But can you tell me now, step 1, what do I do? How do I join in? How do I try and add to the energy?
Well, what I've been doing so far within my limitations and capabilities is the petition and update. I've done a lot of people's cases that we've proved are connected to the petition. So first thing is we could get help with the petition, whether it's leaflets, share it around on WhatsApp, and
that's on Scambusters website.
www.scambuster.tv. So for the time being, that just goes off to the petition. But we're in the process of building what's it called?
Website.
Like a resource center.
Okay.
On the internet.
Okay.
For the time being, the most powerful thing anybody can do for their own case is to send off that document that we've put out on your last show, which requests the case management and so on. And just demand the answers to it.
Yes.
Then we're going to try to do some kind of regular, maybe a weekly question and answer program somewhere where people can phone in with, random issues that they are having in their progress, and hopefully share some good stories as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And so we're going to try to build up a resource center on the internet. Somebody is offered to do it all free today.
Brilliant.
But we for the time being, we have the petition, we have the videos, Scambuster TV. We have a lot of stuff on library, and we're going to put up another document after today's show to request your criminal file.
Yes.
And then over time, we're going to do some more tutorial, and we're going to probably, there are a lot of people who help other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
me.
people who get involved, do they need to have a sort of a background in law? Do they need
No.
study law? Do they need to go?
No, because you know what? Law only applies to lawful things. Yeah.
Yes.
All we're doing here, we're investigating whether there's a lawful and legitimate claim issued by the court and not some papers made up in the court building by the CPS or in the council office. We literally had some guy called Jason Wong. Yeah. He's got the document they filed to him, it says from the process server, we picked these documents up at the council office. And then we sent him the document to sign to request his court papers. And within, how long was it, Andy?
Just over 1 hour.
1 hour, the court wrote back and said, we don't have any file. And within another hour, the council wrote back to him and said, that letter we sent you with the process server, could you please destroy?
Oh.
Destroy any copy and destroy any copy.
And any copies. That is a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Are we hot?
I think so, yeah.
So imagine if we get 1,000 people up and down the country and Northern Ireland, wherever, to do it, Sean. This is a revolution. And if you then do this and you get at, you have every right to go on and knock on somebody's door, your MP, and say, what are you taking a salary for? I want this sorted.
Yeah.
You know?
So just recapping this, what would the process be? Well, right now, we're here to help everybody, and it's a muck in. It's all for one and one for all.
Yeah. Okay.
We're here to pull out these courts and expose them for what they are, which is what they completely are. You mean you're saying about whether whether the case is actually fraudulent or not? Well, the point is, it's the judges. It's the courts themselves. They're allowing themselves to be used fraudulently. Full stop. And it's who is it? We couldn't go in and get them to make this up. So the normal Joe public, it's not about us. So the criminals are those in the public office. So it's the police, it's the council. These are the ones that can create these cases because they're all in with it. And
as you said, it's structured, organized fraud.
100%. Yeah.
You know, Sean, I would jump in and correct you there a little bit.
Go on.
Because people say fraud and fake it. It's not, it's violence.
Yeah.
You see, the fraud is the cover-up. The fraud is the paperwork and so on. But it's violent. At some point in the process, there is going to be a man at your door.
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody with handcuffs. They're going to lock you in jail. They're going to take your child. This is the reality.
Yeah.
So when people say it's fraud and stuff, I get a little, that's a part of it, but the real intent is to physically take something from you, whether it's your business, home.
Indeed, but not all parts of the structured, organized fraud are violent. Okay, not all of them are. Parts of them are, and the whole thing itself is. But I really would love it if we could say who is the structured, organized fraud. I mean, I think it's MABs. And I even think it's the ones that Citizens Advice Bureau that hide under the guise of giving good people information. I genuinely think they're part of the fucking fraud as well.
Well, this is how I see it, Sean. The people doing it, the police, council, and the court, the pyramid of terror.
Yeah.
And they have dark people behind them that we don't see. Yeah. So they are the ones, the dark forces that are sucking up the energy of the country and the people and the businesses and everything, and doing bad things with it and putting money in the offshore accounts. But at the end of every false court proceeding, there is going to be a violent act to remove something from somebody.
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
You understand? Either they want your car, or they want your house,
or your money. Yeah.
You want your child.
Yeah.
You want your business. And if you don't pay, they will physically send someone, and this is the horror. They will come with the support of the police on a false claim.
Yeah.
All over the place. So imagine you're in a system. You go to court. You got there in the court. You got a police officer or officers that's like me testifying against you. Like I had about 10 of them in the court testifying against me that I'm a trespasser in my house, whatever they're saying. You got the court staff who are all hostile to me because every time I try to see my court file, they don't show me. So I feel alienated because I'm trying to verify something and the court staff is not helping me. They're hindering. Until today, I haven't seen my court file in the criminal court. I have got the computer record and it shows a clean bill of health. Imagine your lawyer is against you and you don't know. Imagine the other guy's lawyer, the other side lawyer is against you. Imagine the duty solicitor that they say is free is against you and you don't know. You think they're helping you. The magistrate or the judges are against you. There's a psychiatrist somewhere in the building, I think 2 of them at all times, waiting to assess you as mentally unwell or something. And you're in the middle of that on a fake trial. And all these people know it's a fake trial. And you don't.
Yeah.
Just imagine up and down the country as we speak, how right now we're talking, George is in custody on a false warrant. Yeah.
Yeah.
They told him yesterday, we will not come to your house. They told him clearly. 8:30 in the morning, they're at his door on a fake warrant. Yeah. Might be a real warrant, but how did they get the warrant? The process. There's no process. And he was in the court yesterday checking it out. And all the court staff ran away and left him with the security. But the security can't tell him that somebody made an application for a warrant. So, you know, up and down the country, how many people are facing this? The kids, imagine the families with kids and the parents are being terrorized with all these papers that nobody signed, but they have the effect of elevating your blood pressure, your cortisol, everything. It's like you've been hit by a rhinoceros. Mm-hmm. And the children feel it. And it is all false, and your MP is not doing nothing. So people got to go and see their MP 4 or 5 at a time, you know, record the conversation, demand. It's the court order scam. This is the biggest drug in town. The biggest crack cocaine is court orders. They're making so much money and power from it. They are not able to willingly let go.
So really, they've exposed themselves by their greed and their, I suppose, a thought process that most people are too stupid to question them.
Or scared.
Or scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're running the whole basis on fear. It's all fear-based mind control. And the mere fact is, this is the cure. We're giving you the cure. Everybody who's suffering the fear, this, if you understand what we're saying, the fear will go. Because the maximum law, like I state, yeah, is he who makes the claim as who carries the burden of proof. They're claiming it to be a court case. You just simply ask for the record. If there is no record, there is no court case. You have nothing to answer to because there is no case to answer to.
Yeah. Well, look, can I just come back to a joke, Sean? You're gonna love this one. Yeah.
Okay.
I had some issue with a motoring thing and whatever. So I wrote to Cressida Dick. Like I said, I always write to the top.
Yeah.
I said, why are you sending, I got this fake case. Because you can tell it's a fake case just looking at it for 5 seconds. After a while, you know, by the time you smell the paper. And I said, apart from this fake case, what about they stole my house. Here is a crime number. Why don't you sort it out when I'm getting more fake claims from you? So she wrote back to me and she said, I have spoken to my officers and my officers have repeatedly told you it's a civil matter. So my baby being thrown on the street 3 times with a heart procedure is a civil matter. All my belongings, all my business records of 20, 30 years is a civil matter. Me going to jail is a civil matter. Somebody sold my house without us signing anything is a civil matter. The solicitor going to jail is a civil matter. So anyway, I wrote back to her and I said, okay, well, get me the warrant that your officers get me a copy to show it's a civil matter. She wrote back to me, I won't be replying to any more correspondence from you, but if you send anything, we will log it. Can you imagine, Sean, how nasty that is from Cressida Dick, the commissioner?
Yeah, well, she didn't expect to get any letters of that ilk, did she? You know.
Okay, so... now listen to this. This is the
right.
end. This is the punchline.
Okay.
By the Friday of the same week, I had a look on the newspaper headlines. Cressida Dick caught out in a warrant fraud.
Wow.
That's the commission. The same one who was telling me, like, so strongly and so abusive that she's not going to even reply to me anymore.
Yeah.
And now she's at it. So they are all at it. In case you're not aware, Sir Geoffrey Cox was also caught making up, that's the Attorney General here in the UK.
Okay.
Making up fake High Court orders.
Was
so that's
the
why,
Attorney General.
Huh?
Was the Attorney General.
Yeah, well, that's why he left it. So we got 2 of them that caught. How many have not been caught? Yeah. How many cases? Now we know 3 or 4 people being prosecuted by the Attorney General for contempt of court. And we're saying, give us the court case credentials to show it's a legitimate case so that we can know that you can be in contempt of court.
Yeah.
Now, Nilu Berry was one of them, and she had a trial. She was prosecuted with Sabine McNeil together on the same everything.
Okay.
So we've been helping her to fight and investigate her claim. She hasn't been following our path properly, but she's done the groundwork at least. Sabine McNeil got 9 years in jail.
She did, yeah.
And Nilu just got 6 months suspended sentence. What's the differentiating factor?
Well, there obviously was some differentiating factor.
Because we asked for the computer record, and we asked the Attorney General a very simple question. Did you prosecute me? Just answer yes or no. Can't be any simpler, Sean.
And why didn't Sabine get the same help?
Because Sabine, this is very strange, yeah? Because I've never met Sabine. She actually wrote the foreword on Mr. Ebert's book, The Forensics of Legal Fraud, which I talk about all the time.
Yes.
But nobody questioned the proceedings on her case.
No.
Nobody, it's like nobody want to do the most powerful and simple and cheapest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's like you got a bad flu and you said, well, maybe some lemon juice and chicken soup could help me.
Yeah.
But we want a big, mighty vaccine.
But Nilu knew and was able to use the knowledge at the same time as Sabine.
No, Nilu's case is very confusing because Nilu's know a little bit, but Nilu has the good fortune or bad fortune. She has a solicitor helping her, or a former solicitor called Edward Ellis.
Yes, I know Edward, yeah.
And all Edward Ellis keeps saying, as far as I know, what we're doing is bullshit. Now, I've worked on cases with Edward Ellis together, and one case, we even got property back from the land registry using this method. And he refused to actually request even to verify if the case is legit or not, but he will write a 400-page defense on a bullshit case. So Nilu kind of is influenced by him. So she doesn't stick to the guns the way I would have liked, like what I did. A lot of people stick to the guns. Where is the claim?
Yeah, you should all be working together, really, for the same ends. And
it will never happen. It will never happen.
Yeah.
What you're gonna get is a few people. Personally, I believe if 6 people, half a dozen, work the way I'm working diligently, it's enough. Because the staff, you see, like the court manager who wrote this letter to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the system, they will reach that breaking point. They will say, I'm not doing this. I just want to do my job. I want to go home. I want to sleep in my bed. I don't want to be involved in all this nonsense. And they will do the right thing but when they come under the, like we have the court manager now, Kate Robinson, saying to us, if we give her the proof, she will take it on a national level because it's a serious matter.
Yeah.
Because Kate Robinson don't want the headache and the nonsense of further criminality on her shoulder. And there are many people. So I think if 6 people up and down the country, because I'm dealing with courts all over the country on my little case because I'm an active guy. I got business interest in different little places. I got the Liverpool court. They don't even, if anything comes up in Liverpool, now they don't even do nothing. They just, because I've gone through the mill with them a few times. They don't even bother anymore. Yeah, that's just me. Imagine if half a dozen people. We got the Nottingham court falling apart. Tom Crawford and those guys took them to a different level. But I've got 2 cases I'm helping people in there, and they're getting, they're scared to issue their own order now on certain cases.
The thing is, I mean, I've been saying for years to people to stay away from courts, to go nowhere near them, to not be a part of their game, and refuse their invitations if ever they send you one. So I suppose this goes a little bit against the grain, but really we are telling people to go back, look at their cases, look at the details of their cases. This is people that have been stung, really, isn't it? Not
we are 100% telling people what you are telling them, but there's a very slight difference. When these people get this invitation, so to speak, don't forget these guys are wrong and strong. So soon as you don't turn up to their fake thing, they say, we issue a bench warrant. So next thing you know, you're doing your business somewhere and they go, we're going to arrest you because you failed the show 3 years ago. Yeah. So the minute you get this summons, now I have had arguments with people about it, but all I'm saying, the minute you get the summons, don't ignore it. Right back to the court. Dear court manager, I received this sheet of paper. And you ask for all the credentials that they can't fulfill. That puts you in a different empowerment.
It certainly does, yeah.
You understand? Because when you ignore it, they take it, the law of estoppel, they take it like, what's the word, Andrew? Acquiescence.
Acquiescence.
Yes. Yeah. So this is how they're working. So it's better if you go back to them and ask to verify and validate this summons. And we have this very simple document that does it. And you will have them running from you. It's like you got a warrant because they're scared of you. And I think once people start to do this, you see the letter I got. You understand? Can you imagine the effect in the court now? And they will see this video. They will see we're recommending this court manager for a People's Award.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Definitely, yeah. So the letter was a godsend getting it back. The reply was a godsend, really.
It's a freedom letter that can free the entire nation from the council tax burden and the fake liability orders, and open up the whole Pandora's box about the court order scams in general.
So it isn't just an exclusive, it's a difficult word to say, exclusivity letter for you, and really it was only intended for you. Obviously it said confidential on it, but and maybe they wouldn't reply to others in the same way, or do you think they would?
No, what I'm saying to others, we have this breakthrough here in black and white. When you're sending your request, like I sent, you attach this bunch. Do you understand? So the one who reads it in that court is in no uncertain mindset what is what.
Okay.
And now they will go to their boss, and the boss will go to his boss. And we will have the system being self-cleaning. People will clear out.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
The point is that letter, it says it's complete. It tells exactly what it is. It says what it means and means what it says. There's no mistake in the point. So when you send that in with your thing, the people that are getting it, because that's with it as well, it's attached to it and it exposes the whole thing. How can they continue the blag to you?
Yeah.
No.
Imagine if you're the judge, Sean, and this person asks you for the computer record, asks you what was filed. You can't answer. And not only that, you have this document on the file that says somebody's just hired the court. This number is not a court case number, blah, 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 blah. Is that judge going to feel comfortable that they're going to make what they call a unsafe conviction?
No, I shouldn't think so.
But, I mean, I can't see it. Yeah, I can't see it. I tell you a joke. Nobody threatened my wife about this thing since we got that letter. That was the end of the matter. So it's like we won the case. Only problem is we don't have a court order to show because it was never part of a court process in the first place.
Right. So when people send off their, asking for a review of their cases, etc., and files and all the rest of it, they add those letters, that reply you had, etc., to their document that they send off, and together it's a really, really powerful document.
It's crazy because it's explained. You don't have to say to them, oh, I think your court is a fraud, and then they say, oh, you are a hostile or you're a aggressive person. You got something there that is it does the job for you. You understand?
It's like having a court manager stood next to you asking the question with you.
Yeah, it's a precedent. It's it's an established fact that this number on your document that they send you is not a court number.
No. At the moment, I see it as an absolute gift for people. This is information that as I said on the last show, I wish I was mainstream media. This should be fucking global, and it should be every single human being in every single family should be sharing this information.
Well, that's why we're calling it the death of council tax. I know it's council tax by its other things, but this is the door. I just find it's a nice word. The death of council tax. We're going to send this out. So every MP is going to get a copy of this podcast, Sean. Every newspaper outlet is going to get it. We not every. I have about 350 journalists on my list. Right. They're all going to get it. And we can't force them to publish or do nothing.
No.
But people may share it. But like I said, a revolution is affected by a very small number of people. It's not the masses that we think.
No. The
masses will come out for a party and make a bit of noise and get, a good time sometimes. But the real, I think half a dozen hardcore people, some people are good fighters in their own case, but there are many people who assist other people.
Yes. Definitely.
And if some of those people take this on board, at the very least, attach these documents. If you're getting help from the Citizens Advice, you give it to them.
Brilliant.
So what are they going to do now? I know they're sponsored by the same criminals, but it's like with me and my solicitor. He says, I'm professionally embarrassed because he is never under any circumstances going to tell me that these proceedings are all make believe.
Yeah.
They run off the this is the thing, you see, how can you prove a negative? This is the whole point. Well, that document proves that. That's the whole point. That document completely highlights it and puts it in worded perfection. It's blessed.
It crushes it. It crushes it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a joke, Sean. I'll tell you what I have. Just going off the topic a little bit. I have a letter from an MP.
Okay.
Which I also want to put it out. I know that I'm going to have to do a whole thing on driving thing. But it says, on the Parliament letterhead, there is no law in the United Kingdom that requires you to have a driving license.
That's right, and there isn't, because we are all lawfully, not legally, lawfully allowed free travel.
But when you have it in black and white on Parliament-headed paper,
yeah,
it's another level.
That's right. I mean, at the moment, the English people, for example, the people living in England, they think that the only human being allowed to drive a car without a driving license is the Queen. They're told that's the only one. And what they're basically saying is she has your sovereignty. She has your sovereignty. You are subject to her sovereignty, whether you like it or not. If you were sovereign, you wouldn't have to have a driving license either.
Well, I mean, this is the duality of things, yeah? What's true, what is false, what is fact, what is fiction, what is a police constable, what is a police officer, what is law, what is legal.
Yeah, exactly.
Legal needs
well said.
Where the license comes into the things, yeah? That's the thing. License is in the corporate. When you're in commerce, yeah, that's why you require the license. That's why they call it driving, because you're meant to be, you know, if you need a driving license, if you're a taxi driver, if you're delivering goods, if you're in commerce. Other than that, yeah, you're not driving, you're traveling. You're traveling in your own private conveyance, in your own property. Yeah, if you call it a vehicle, you're now going into their territory, and it's all language, because it's all codes, because the police all run off codes. It's all down to codes, rules and regulations, but they, as you know, requires the consent to be enforceable. And they duping people into, and well, it doesn't mean duping people. People are giving it. They're giving it by acquiescence because they don't know. The only problem in this world is the lack of knowledge. And just because I do know this is going to the this podcast will go out to all these the media and all the other outlets. Like just remember this to all of you guys, yeah. You know, because this is your family and everything else that this is involved with. Like, if we can clean up this country, everyone has to clean up their own backyard. Yeah. And just remember, yeah, your silence is your guilt. Yeah. And you're in those positions. And we're here fighting on as best as we can get to the amount of people as we can get it. You know, so that's why all the audience on here now, you know, if you don't like what we're saying, fair enough. But if what we're trying to do is help this with nothing in this. This is pure and simple, you know, as a caring man, yeah, that wants this mess cleaned up, and I'm doing my best, you know, pure and simple, because I mean, I've got a child, we've got children, they've got a future for them. We've got to stop this. We're all part of this. We all have a responsibility, you know. Philotimo in Greece, I'm in Greece. Philotimo is the word is love of honor, right? The love of friend or friend of honor. So basically, it's our duty, every man, woman, and child's duty, yeah, to be honourable, not just to our fellow brothers and sisters, to ourselves. So to being honourable to ourselves means, yeah, we will not allow ourselves to be fooled. We must remain in honour. We must stay with the clean hands. We must not stop, because remember, everybody, yeah, who goes to a counterfeit court case are being complicit in a crime that they are going to be the victim of. That's how stupid and foolish one is being, by not asking the simple question of them to verify their claim. And the maxim of law is the most powerful, yeah? The maxim states, yeah, he who makes the claim. That's what I'm trying to drive into people's heads. I couldn't come over and blag you. You'd demand me to give you the evidence to substantiate my claim. Just because they're wearing a suit, just because it's coming looking official with an official letterhead, it's got this button stamp on, doesn't mean jack. It is just a piece of paper. Unless you can quantify it, verify it, and authenticate it, it's just a piece of paper. And don't read it. Don't read it, because it's going to put you into a fear. That's what it's there to do, to get you scared. So it will put you on the defense mode rather than staying as king and saying, prove it. You made the claim, the burden's on you. Prove this is what you say it is, because I don't believe you. And I don't have to believe you, because I'm being honourable to myself. And myself says I must ask. Just like I say to everybody out there, you must ask too. And you must ask for yourselves. And if we all ask, that's all it takes. because that is the pressure that is required, because we no longer can be fooled. We must stop allowing ourselves, stop acquiescing to this nonsense by just asking a simple question. And that goes with all you media guys, yeah? You know full well, expose your bosses. I know you're being told, just like all the other bosses, yeah? But you've got to be the ones that stand up. All the good police, what do? They leave the force. Stop it. You're the ones that got to stay in there and clean up shop. And like I told the police when I went over to England back in 2018, whatever it was, yeah? I said, listen, you police, like, I said, I know you're going to get treated worse than me if you become that blower, if you become that exposure of the truth and try and enforce these things, yeah? So I'm there to try and awaken, or should I say, because I don't like that word because people get offended by being saying awaken. I'm trying to enlighten the people so that they can see if there is going to be any of you decent policemen out there, yeah, that have got philotimo, that have got actually want to be honourable, that went into that job to become honourable and do what you was meant to do, which was serve the people and make sure that's because you're meant to be a peacekeeper, you're meant to be a police constable.
Can I butt in a little bit there on the police? Because we just had a Zoom meeting with Hannah Maria from over Spain, where the police, they've managed to get tons of police to join the public in various demonstrations and stuff. And she's trying to get something like that set up in the UK. So she's looking out for serving police officers. We've got quite a few ex-police officers who are working with us in some way or other, working on the injustice issue. But she's looking for some serving police officers who are prepared to stand up for the right and for the law and reject the corporate fraud and bullying that they're facing. So for all you police officers looking, I'm sure there are a few. By the way, Sean, one of my videos they're using in police training. So
that says it all.
It
says it all. So it does.
It's called Criminal Cops Caught on Camera, that one.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is a little shout out. So are we coming up to the end?
Well, I just thought I'd let you know that we've got around 5-10 minutes left. So if you want something specifically to be said before we finish, try and get in before the next 10 minutes.
Well, to finish at the end of the video, I think you have to say smash the like button. I don't know what difference it makes if you touch it slowly or you smash. I don't know. Everybody says to smash it. Well, no, we need people to support. We have some crazy content, and it's more important than most other stuff you will see on YouTube. But it's probably not more entertaining and stuff. But listen, we need help. This
2 hours have flown. I'm telling you guys.
Yeah. We need help to get this thing out, to market it, to get signatures. Every signature goes to the 7 top people in government. Right. We need people to download this document and help their own case, help the movement. We need to clean this place up, rapidly, and we need to get a lot of people to confess their sins and come over and work for the benefit of mankind and nature. And leave the place a little bit better than we found it. So the court order scam is the dirty little secret of the elite gang, and we found it. We need to keep poking it until it is really a gift, because it can change things with very minimal effort and bloodshed. And if people become aware in the future generations that this is got to be watched and monitored, and get people back in the courtrooms and get charities to support court visitors, not just paid journalists paid by corporations to sit in court and write reports, members of the public to see what's going on. And education, we got to do some education videos about law. We used to have civics taught in the schools. I learned civics at school.
Yeah.
The people don't get that anymore. They don't know basic. People come out with PhDs, shown PhDs.
Yeah.
They don't know what is a man. They don't know what is money. And they have a student debt.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
So, guys, support it. Andy, you want to close it off?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's just some of the things like all this. Thing is, unity is the key. We all know. I mean, I'm not saying good or bad, you know, it's just, I'm just saying the Cube movement, one way or other, I mean, it's enlightened a lot of people. One of their saying was, where we go one, we go all, yeah? Well, there's a lot of other things here, like, you know, we can only help you as much as you can help us. This is we have all a duty, yeah? Because of the saying, like, you know, freedom isn't free, you know. We have to work hard to maintain that freedom, and we have to keep an eye. If we're putting people in positions of power, then those people that are in those positions must be held accountable and kept an account of, to make sure that they're doing what they do. So it's a burden, it's a duty that we must all maintain for our family, for our loved ones, for our friends, yeah, to make sure that we all look out for each other here, because we've got a big group, a big organization that have been fleecing us, but we are the many, we are the masses, and the only reason they're doing it is pure and simple because of the lack of the knowledge. With the facts that we're pointing out, and this is why I stuck to this, is because we can prove it, we can show it, and it's very simple, and everyone understands about what is real and what is fake, what is genuine, what is not genuine, because it's not been created correctly. We can see the simplistics of it, which I think anyone can understand. No one will accept anything off of anybody, but just because they're wearing suits, because they look official, doesn't mean nothing. They all shit down the pan. These are no different. They're no bigger and no stronger or better or anything else than us. And it was just a numbers game. And that numbers game is up to every individual one of us. Everyone that's listening to this now, all you need to do is sign that petition. All you need to do is download the documents, send it in, request, you know, what you're requiring. You know, you're demanding what they carried that burden of proof, that they needed to substantiate that proof, yeah? And you're only demanding what is right, yeah? And that's the honorable thing to yourself. You've got to be honorable to yourself. Only the fool can be fooled. Do not stay fools. You know, we've all been deceived, but you don't have to stay deceived. That is down to our own individual selves. And it's our duty to do the research, just to have a look into what's being said, because everything that's been said is 100% verifiable, and the facts are there for you to plain and simply see for yourselves. You can't ignore the facts. The facts tell the truth, people lie. The government, the media, you can see they're lying as soon as their lips move. So all you need to do is demand what is rightfully what they have to carry the duty to do, which is provide the material evidence to substantiate their claims. Don't just take their nonsense as truth, because it isn't.
Brilliant. Thank you, Andy. So look, we've come to the end of the 2 hours, and I want to say thank you so much. Took us a bit to organize it over the weekend, but hey, we got there at the end.
I put my hand up. It was one of those days. End of the month and all that.
A whole weekend this feckin' thing took. No, I'm only joking. It's absolutely brilliant to have you here. I want to tell people, do get involved with the petition. Do get involved with what's going on. Check scambuster.tv. And I want to say thank you to Andrew Devine and Anthony Badaloo for coming on Out of the Bag again. And I'm sure in the near future, we'll be hearing more very positive results and maybe a few more resignations coming from that elite scum that we somehow put on pedestals. You guys, thank you so much for not just coming on my show, but for the work you do. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, honestly.
Out of the bag.
Out of the bag and into your media's hands. Remember, your silence is your guilt.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
Take care. God bless.
There you go. I've stopped recording.